DLF Senior Executive Director for Marketing and Sales, Aakash Ohri, who's joining us right now on the phone line. Aakash, thanks very much for taking out the time. Are you seeing trends in the residential market picking up? Because up until now, the focus had completely directed itself towards what commercial real estate has been doing, which has been surpassing the overall demand and the growth for many developers like yourself.
Yeah, thanks. As I said to somebody yesterday as well, that what's happening is that I see the change. People were always, real estate, and especially the residential real estate, has been in our DNA for a long time. So I don't think anybody can take that out. But because of what happened in the industry in the past 5 years, I think people got pretty wary and took their monies out and put them in various other the other opportunities that they had. So today, what we see is that if you have a good product, and you can take it to the customer, you can bring it there, bring it out. I think people are more than happy to go back and make investments in real estate. So that I see that. I mean, apart from just the humongous response that we got from the brokering community, what also happened was, and is happening as I speak to you, is people taking out time to go and see. So the customer, in spite of everything else, still wants to go see the product and everything because of the trust deficit. But I think it's going pretty well.
But, what happens to the already stocked up inventory? Is that moving along?
Which stock up inventory?
In the system, not just for DLF, for the industry as a whole, for residential projects.
As I said, this is a completely. It's a very bold move to construct and sell. So if others follow, I think the only way to remove this trust deficit will be when people complete their products and bring it out in the market. So when somebody is buying something, they're buying a tangible product and not just dreams. So I think people should. Our industry is pretty happy with what they saw in the last couple of days, and it's not about DLF alone. I think everybody else, I'm sure, will follow. So, you see this kind of a response, and you only saw that maybe a decade back. So I think everybody's pretty excited.
Aakash, good morning. Neeraj here.
Morning.
Was this Ultima project being sold only to actual users, or were you also selling to investors?
See, what happens is the good part today is that mostly there are actual users. Unlike earlier, where most of the investors used to come into the market, but here it's a extremely healthy mix of both the communities, and that's what's happened. So I think because of whatever the product is saying, and obviously the price points, the kind of response that one is getting is both. But what we did was we limited our exposure and curtailed that to a very healthy mix of primarily retail and then the other. So investors also are, if there is somebody who's buying it, he's buying it for maybe his company or extended family and all, as they know the price is extremely lucrative.
Mm-hmm. So, but what proportion was this? 75-25, or in favor of actual users, or different than that? Any estimate?
No, I'd say that today we have I'd say almost if you see
alone,
it'll almost be maybe. Can you hear me?
Yeah, for Ultima alone, it would have been 75-25 actual user investor, or would it be different?
No, it'll be different. It'll be about 60-40, I think.
Okay, 60-40.
The actual numbers we're still compiling.
No, the reason, Aakash, you appreciate, the only reason why I asked this is because I presume that you've launched, I think 376 units of launch inventory was sold. I presume you would have a phase 2 and a phase 3 as well. I'm wondering if the investor inventory comes along with in the market, or does that only happen post the project is completely constructed?
So the project is completely constructed. You're now giving them about 4 to 6 months of handover. So that's the time that people, get their funds together, get their bank loans and everything else. So there I don't see a problem. So this is not going to be these are not those kind of investors that you may be investing to who have a 5-year horizon or 3-year horizon. This is just going to be converted in a matter of months. So I don't think it's going to be lucrative for those kind of investors. That's what I'm understanding you saying.
Yes.
So it's the good market. It's hardcore consumers. It's people who want to live there or want to take this as their home or want to take it as for leasing purposes. As they see a lot of commercial boom around that area, they know residential is going to follow. With American Express making that big announcement, moving their campus there. And so all that, it's all going to be very demand-driven.
Just one last question, Aakash, before we wind up on this conversation quickly. I mean, up until now, conversations around affordable housing was that, that segment is doing okay for itself. There's not much of, a real demand issue or a pain point there. But for luxury housing, particularly in the metros, that's where the little bit of slack has come in. Do you see that changing?
See, luxury has always been price inelastic if you see the trends. We've been, whether super luxury, what we've been doing, has been doing well over the past, I'd say definitely a couple of years. And but luxury right now, I'd say this again to you, that there is still a market, a good market, and people have the money. If you bring in a good product and at a good price, it definitely will be picked up. And second, most important thing there is the location, So the infrastructure developments around that area are doing pretty well at a reasonable pace. There's a sizable amount of people who are living there. There are some reports I was seeing the other day which has put the new Gurugram second to Gurugram in terms of preference of living. So I think it's, you can't just do anything in isolation. It has to be a combination of a lot of things. And I see luxury definitely being I'd say doing well. But again, I'd say that with caution. You have to make the product first. You have to put it out there. And the specs and everything will have to be pretty well defined. So there are enough takers. Let me tell you this very clearly. There are enough takers for a good product.